Second round of our conversation, Rio de Janeiro private living. This is a bit of our effort and contribution, all for free, as free advice on business, finances, and economy, all by law. The violation of COSAT creates the right. If the violation affected others' interest, we must have this declared by a court that will got in touch with the issues. The research comes at least since 2014. We are in touch with the Federal Bureau of Investigation at least since 2014, and in the same way the American defensive system. We presented during this period, which is the period considering this trial, even as a simulation or a role-playing, corruption criminal association as multi-level, transnational organized crime by the level as association that you have. The functional corruption goes in areas that has functions. It means has an organogram. If goes on budget, it's always organized crime because it's the physiological and essential element of any institution or organization. On microenvironment, macroenvironment, or global environment. Considering the pandemic crime, we have the pandemic mobilization by the concurrent misuse of budget, which means a concurrent failure at the control area. See? Industrial crime, you affected the industry, especially the military industry, by supply chains. The supply, which is the need of the defensive system, since the human resource until the energy matrix had been affected by the failure at the control, the tolerance with the institutional and failure inside the organization goes inside the organization. By the interconnection and interaction by this, the concurrent fail needs a physiological interface, which is the budget. You are all segmented there. Take a look at the board, please. 6 up to 20 suggests the kickoff as prison. Corruption is a crime in our area. It's a collinear repression against this behavior. Corruption, international biohazard, weapons of mass destruction, consumer risks, and frauds against the consumer, which can be made by a company, by a group of consumers or employees to obtain advantage using structures at this pandemic crime scam, taking advantage by failure. With no control and huge tolerance with failures, we are exposing the clandestine system in general will be associated with the taxation, and it's something made by public departments, and will affect the price, and then we will have the price scam, will impact the property, even as a material property, when for instance you try to obtain advantage stealing data by the association with the provider of communication, using the expertise as corruption on public department, which has a skill trained level, and the company having the expertise at the employees, the association of both, to take advantage of the company, of the public department, against others. Against others, that is having the issue with others' interests, you form the third interest at this trial, with legitimacy to be at the creditors committee. If we had the conversation, for instance, that Russia can have, and we can use the simulation as a struggle or something like this to operate the security system. The security system operated must have the core security. It's not to create instability. And if you had a struggle, and this struggle was for real at the intent, one area to prove their guts, the other to prove that the area that is trying to achieve the 18 years old and would like to have their own car has this legal right. The struggle between Russia and the Ukraine, considering the interface presented at this moment, which was the NATO police and was, I think, that it's here on May. Is it correct on May? I think that was on May. We could observe that we will research the supply chain using this model. Do you remember? The CIA, the KGB was on April 28th. The NATO police, this was an international judicial system offered to research and, of course, offer the guarantees by a constitutional committee, which was an idea from Germany and Italy on current time. It means the millennium. And the idea was like this. We now are having the situation kind of closer. The struggle between Russia and the Ukraine sets a new area that the Russia is claiming the right to be this area incorporated at their own, geographic space. Ukraine had support by everybody. Russia didn't have. Russia played the game as kind of a very experienced driver. The Ukraine had the passion as, and the enthusiasm as a new driver, but hadn't the vehicle yet. But he will have small vehicle. But Russia has the right to, have this area if the struggle was, self-supported by themselves, and then indeed they achieve those areas and the population considering okay, and we are having in mind that indeed they kind of are maybe the same source as people, despite with different vision about the reality. Russia is a communism, a real one. I think that it's the Union, and the North Korea is something very close to this. And to avoid that this pure communism got contaminated, for instance, by ideas that do not belong to the communism, like the capitalism, which is a different process as application of effort at the productive system, you can consider that this area that you are claiming the right to be incorporated will be areas with self-determination and management according with the Russia legal premise, I would say. In other words, they will do everything you shouldn't do inside the capitalism, considering your premises as law and order. And when they are dealing with the capitalism, especially at the West, on East we have the Japan and Russia. I think that, in my opinion, they are more near to the West, because they are kind of on Europe. The Japan is on Asia as a capitalism center on Asia, maybe the most relevant. Since the 90s, they are not the second economy at the globe, but they are very relevant yet. and Russia will operate this area that will be like this, you know, and this area will be the area incorporated by Russia. As you can observe here, we have this area as the Russia application of the law, and the small area that is dealing with the capitalism. And you must do this as Russia interest, which implies sustain the pure communism. Or this, ideology will be over, barrier. So you need this interface to open your eyes. See? And you have the range interfaced through this space here, setting your angle inside the capitalism, and you can have the view. My family has medical in there, on ophthalmology and in other areas. We will check that this is the idea as your ocular, I would say, your perception, sense at the capitalism inside the communism, not acting by the dialogue with communism or as communism. You keep yourself pure. Then we will have the capitalism here that is in a situation like this. We are having the North America, we are having the South America, and we are having the Europe. The regression between Brazil and America set the ordinated peers as A and B, that if it's not represented, Brazil or USA are representing the Europe, C. And after have the Europe at the game, it's not A or B or Europe, it's representing someone on Asia. And you consider, have the first question, if do we have any interest, Asian interest on Europe, which is the country Europe, and the nominated country from Europe wouldn't like or have the idea supported when we ask the cooperation for global security and stability. So we transferred notes from North America, South America, and Europe, considering the hot asset as capital asset, setting gaps on it by the business and elements inside those areas here. We can expand and having the increasement of those business and close the circle. But we will avoid the trust, and then we will raise this area surrounding the interest, which is segmented. It's a security, it's according to the law. And you dealing with the Western civilization, for instance, which indeed is something that you belong, I think. You go like this. You will have the business at this area here on Europe, and you will have the continuity of business, for instance, the oil and gas. We had a problem on Europe. You can, for instance, you can rent, not offer the energy as resource, but you can rent your station as energy for Germany, and Germany will supply Europe, for instance. And you will do this through this iris inside your eye, having the protection of your vision about the future as communism, and this is something that now belongs only to you. Drum deal. Second part, closet NATO police. Have a good night.